Gentlemen, we are back.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
gonna be us. We can drink and talk shit as much as we want. Nobody can say anything to it. D.L. Hughley, Uncut.
Hey, it's D.L. Hughley Uncut.
Here's what I don't necessarily understand. Even if he had been committing a crime, even if he had been, which there's no evidence that he was, is it legal to just summarily execute someone? I thought police officers existed to bind you over the trial,
Right.
to subject you to whatever legalities. But is it legal? It wouldn't be if an officer did something like that. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Why is it that when a citizen has done it, they seem to have more latitude than a police officer would in those very same situations?
So what most people find ironic right now, DL, is that we're treating these normal citizens like they're cops. Cops get to get away with killing a few people every
Right.
now and then
Right.
in tricky situations, but normal citizens aren't supposed to act like that. But
Right.
this is a normal citizen who retired from being a police officer last
Right.
year, so he still wants his blue privilege, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to, is that we're treating these people like cops, but we shouldn't give cops that kind of protection.
I think that you should listen. I think that if you're a police officer and you wear that star, you have more of an obligation. I think your standards should be higher. They saw a black man running, and they decided to play vigilante, and a black man is dead because of that. And one thing I know that white people love in Georgia is to see niggas run. It's usually on Sunday.
Yeah.
I do not understand how they think that we're supposed to tolerate that. I mean, at the very least, it should be sent over to a trier of fact. At the very least.
That's to say the least. Now, the question that you asked earlier is, it's when can deadly force be used, right? In what situation here would be where it would be legal for them to kill him, right? And that's if he was exerting deadly force against those officers or those people, or if he represented a deadly threat to someone else.
Right.
Because that's completely absent here. This is clearly a crime and should be indicted. But and I'm not name plugging, but I just got off the phone when the reason I was late, sort of hopping on this call with Jesse Jackson. We agree that this case actually should go. It has to go to the Department of Justice. It has to go to the federal level, because we can't. And DL, that's a scary concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wait, we're gonna go to William Barr's Justice. Good luck, Lee.
Can't wait to see what that looks like. It's so
But
sad
you
too,
know
because even when you think about how they talked about how this young man ran this route often, it wasn't his first time that he ran this route often. There were neighbors who were well aware of that. And so in my head, I'm trying to figure out if the shooter lived in the same neighborhood. Was it just the fact that he saw a black man running in the street and apparently called 911 and said he's hauling ass, got his son, grabbed their guns, and went after him?
No, you just described exactly what happened.
Right.
It just,
So that,
okay, because what I find ironic is that I've talked to you 3 times, and every one of those times a black man or woman have been killed in an extraordinary circumstance. Everyone. From somebody breaking in and shooting someone that was asleep, for somebody leaving a party, now somebody jogging. And generally the refrain is, well, if they would have just complied, or if they had just done, what is it that you can do that would have exempted them from that level of violence? Because if somebody pulled me over, a truck, if a pickup truck with a white dude jumped out with a shotgun and say, I want to talk to you for a minute, when you got a gun, you don't want to talk, you want to do harm. And I don't understand when people are so benign, they go, well, all they had to do, where is the all they had to do in this situation? The only thing he could have not done is be black.
Yep. And the last time we talked, it was actually a Tatiana Jefferson.
Right.
Tatiana Jefferson was playing video games with her nephew at her home. Nothing else she could have done. Botham Jean, nothing else he could have done. And this is another one of those situations where I do want to say about Ahmaud, after seeing this video, and I just saw it for the first time yesterday with everyone else, I was really proud that he fought so hard, and he fought back. And I remember this morning a poem by Paul McKay is like, look, if we're going to die, Let's die fighting back.
Right. And it's a shame, but I think that the one thing has I was joking about this. The 1820 hasn't changed, 1920 hasn't changed, but what has changed with black people is 2020, and we've changed. I think that we have our responsibility is to make sure that people know that we are watching and to make sure that they are held accountable. And to your almost every time I've talked to you, it's been a horrible situation. But you know what else has also happened? You sought and received justice in circumstances. What you did with the young man in Dallas, what you
Roy,
did with both
Roy
of
Oliver.
John. And I think that you kind of you are a good luck charm, if you can say. If a lawyer can ever be your good luck charm, what do you think will be the outcome? What do you think? What's the best we can hope for, and what do you think is the potential outcome?
I can say, DL, in recent times, the past 3 to 4 years, black people have been standing up all over the country. They've been trying new things, and it is what folks are calling the Black Lives Matter generation. And we're getting outcomes. We did see a conviction for Jordan Edwards. I'm sorry, for Roy Oliver, the man who killed
A
Jordan
police
Edwards,
officer, right? Right.
and Amber Geiger. Aaron Dean is going to go to prison. These men, I this will be the hardest case that you and I have discussed.
But the other men were policemen, and these weren't. So how could that even be harder? How can this be harder?
It's the location.
Mm-hmm.
This is South Georgia. This is the heart of racism in America. This is the seat of racism. Sorry. And look, some of the most racist courts we find ourselves in are in California and other places. So I don't want to overplay that. But these men are unapologetic. I believe that this video was leaked by that community to say that we don't see anything wrong.
Look at what we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
If what you're saying is true, if that is going to be the most daunting task we have, isn't it that much more important that we win? Isn't it that much important? It's that much more important. It matters more than ever, because what you're saying to me, and I just think that I'm flummoxed by hearing it, it was easier to convict duly sworn officers of the law, and which is that's 97% of the time that doesn't happen. So it was easier to do that than vigilantes.
Yeah.
Well, I can believe it if you think about it. Nothing had happened to them, right?
Nothing
had happened to them up until now, though.
And I'm actually speaking to you all as an attorney, but I'm speaking to you all from my personal experience. I spent some of my formative years in North Florida. That's the same area. Coastal Georgia and North Florida, the same area. Chiefland, Florida, Levy County, Alachua County. Those are the most racist places I've ever been in my life. I've had shotguns pulled on me. We knew not to go jogging through certain neighborhoods. People would go out and lynch you, and you would disappear into the swamps, and no one would ever find you again. And that's the fear that we lived with because they weren't persecuted. That's the fear that currently exists in South Georgia. That's the fear that I've come back to address in my adult years in practice.
What can we do as a community? Because I've said this. I think if we can watch Teddy Riley and Babyface, if we can watch we can watch Jill Scott and Erykah Badu, and we can make our presence felt, something like this. I think what needs to happen is that we need to show that this is something we're not going to tolerate, because losing this, if anything, if what you said is true, losing this puts a bigger target on us by so many more guns.
Yeah. And DL, I think what we can do is what we've done in these other cases. You call me the black folk good luck.
You are.
I think
you are.
I think there's something to that. I'm part of a younger generation of folk. I'm from South Central LA. My father is in prison. All my brothers are felons. Folks identify with me, and they pay attention when I'm involved in a case. It's actually our collective attention that what were they calling it in Wakanda? That we are in fact what's the metal material in Wakanda?
Vibranium.
Vibranium.
Yeah.
We are the vibranium. When we tune in, things change. So we just need to all stay focused on this case. The problem is we live in such a distracted society that all the other distractions, when the Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill decide to battle, we'll focus on that and we'll forget all about justice for Ahmaud.
Yeah, but the one thing we all have, we all aren't going to be popular singers. We're not all going to be stars. We're all going to have children. We're all gonna have children that are a victim, that can potentially be victims of this system. Two things I'll say: you're my favorite lawyer.
Appreciate
And I knew I loved you even. I just found out you're from South Central. So where's my watch, nigga? I know you took it. I know.